Demonstrators and counter-protesters clashed in Berkeley for the third time over President Trump. Over 20 people are in custody in the East Bay.
And North Korea's missile launch fails just 24 hours after one of their biggest days of the year. But should we be expecting more planned aggression in the coming weeks? All this and more on State of Events. Welcome to State of Events. I'm Abene Clayton.
And I'm Justin McCarthy. Now on to one of our top stories. Turkey granted its president new powers and with it, a chance to change the country's political system. State of Events reporter Anna Marie Terea has the details on the close election in Turkey and more international news.
Thank you, guys. Turkey's President Erdogan wins the constitutional referendum by a slim majority, and a new government structure is planned. Mass protests broke out after results were announced, as the opposition parties are stunned by their loss. Let's take a look.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan claimed victory in his constitutional referendum. After 99% of the ballots were counted, results showed that 51% voted yes to the change, with a close 48% voting no. This victory grants the president more power and changes the former parliamentary system to a presidential one. The change would eliminate the power of the prime minister and could potentially allow Erdogan to run for 2 additional 5-year terms. These changes will take effect in 2019. However, it will take about 10 days for the official results to come in, and the opposing party plans to recount 37% of ballot boxes. A bus that was scheduled to evacuate more than 3,000 people was postponed after a deadly bombing that killed 126 evacuees. Of those 126, 80 of them were children. 55 were injured in a suburb of Aleppo. These buses were parked at the time of the attack, carrying evacuees from rebel villages, hoping to cross into government territory. There has been no claim to the attack. A North Korean missile exploded after a failed missile launch. It comes one day after the biggest event of the year, the celebration of the 105th birthday of former North Korean leader Kim Il-sung, the late grandfather of current leader Kim Jong-un. The test began after Vice President Pence arrived in South Korea to discuss the growing tensions in the north.
The missile launch hasn't provoked U.S. military for a response, but it is keeping them on high alert. During his visit to Japan, Vice President Pence says that the U.S. will continue to put diplomatic and economic pressure on North Korea. And that's all for our top stories here on World News. Tune in next week for more global stories you can only find right here on State of Events. I'm Anna Marie Terea, sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Politics are all over the map this week. We have an explosion in Syria and the war of words to North Korea.
And back home, we have an all-out call to action on President Trump's taxes. Uilani Gray is in Studio 3 with our politics.
Thank you. Afghanistan officials are reporting the death toll from the bomb strike last week has risen to 94 ISIS militants. The U.S. military dropped the largest non-nuclear weapon used in combat. The Trump administration is calling it the mother of all bombs. Fortunately, there were no reports of civilians being killed in the attack. The purpose of the operation was to eliminate their cave sanctuaries located in the mountains. The weapon hit its intended target, says Afghan officials. Now, this move has led to some speculations and a war of words to North Korea. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has some harsh words to those nations operating outside of the norms. Was the mother of all bombs a possible signal to North Korea, showing what may happen if they continue on this nuclear path? Well, Rex Tillerson has this to say.
If they elevate the threat of their weapons program to a level that we believe requires action, that option is on the table.
There was little doubt the missile strikes would be seen by North Korea as a message. North Korea has pledged to increase its defense to protect against airstrikes. The New York Times said the North has always feared the U.S. is preparing some kind of assault against them. Vice President Mike Pence is visiting South Korea this week. He has warned North Korea that recent American strikes in Syria and Afghanistan showed President Trump's resolve should not be questioned.
The era of strategic patience is over. President Trump has made it clear that the patience of the United States and our allies in this region has run out.
The White House is taking a more calculated approach, giving the Chinese government time to show if it's ready to use its influence to curb its erratic nuclear-armed neighbor. Back at home, demonstrators are setting a tax deadline for President Trump. Tax returns needed now. Thousands of demonstrators in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, New York, and cities across the nation took to the streets this weekend in a tax march demanding that President Trump release his tax returns. Demonstrators are demanding more transparency and insist that lawmakers put the people's needs ahead of corporations and the wealthy. Organizers had hoped the marches would be amongst the largest political gatherings in the country. They were pleased with the turnout. In Arkansas, the debate on death row execution is getting heated. At the heart of the fight are 8 executions in the course of 11 days. This is an unprecedented flurry of executions. Why? Because one of the drugs used will expire at the end of April. The courts have offered a stay of execution, but the state's attorneys are fighting to persuade judges to allow the executions and to make the decision quickly. We'll keep you updated on the status of this story and others. That's your update for politics. I'm Uilani Gray. Back to you at the desk.
And there was yet another violent clash in Berkeley between alt-right and anti-fascist protesters. Berkeley police say about 1,000 people filled downtown streets. Police arrested 21 people and seized weapons including knives, bats, and brass knuckles. According to campus news outlet Daily Cal, students worry another riot is coming their way. Controversial commentator Ann Coulter is slated to speak at UC Berkeley on April 27th. Residents worry that this could bring the same chaos as the Myolan Yiannopoulos event in February. Police in Erie, Pennsylvania found the body of the Cleveland Facebook shooter this morning. Steve Stevens allegedly killed an elderly man and posted the video to Facebook. Police say Stevens shot himself in the head. Stevens published other videos where he admits to multiple shootings.
After its long funding battle with SF State Administration, the Ethnic Studies Department is launching a fundraiser to support the Queer Ethnic Graduate Studies program. Ashman Ram has the details.
Thank you, Justin. And after almost nearly being shut down just a year ago, the Ethnic Studies Department has a lot to celebrate. For example, recently hosting the 45th National Ethnic Studies Conference on SF State campus, and now raising funds to support graduate students in their work towards gender, race, and sexuality. Through its adversities, the Ethnic Studies Department continues to stay innovative. Let's take a look. From the support of student, faculty, and community members, the Ethnic Studies Department at San Francisco State University continues to make progress as it reaches its one-year anniversary for saving the Ethnic Studies Department. Some students demonstrated hunger strikes to protect the administrative cuts, and other influential community members came out to support the students.
This is the face of San Francisco. This is the face of our nation here. This is the face is where the majority of people in this country are going to be people of color. That's real. Not sooner, not later, but sooner. So this is what we're talking about.
And for the first time, the Ethnic Studies Department hosted the 45th annual conference for the National Association for Ethnic Studies on SF campus. And now the department is supporting the LGBTQ community on National Give Out Day. Donations will support the development of social change, the acceptance of all genders, and people of color. Donations can be made on the SF State Ethnic Studies page, and additional information can also be found on the department's Facebook page. Live at SF State, Ashman Ram, State of Events, back to you in the studio.
Coming up after the break, you probably have your iPhone and MacBook, but what about your iCar? Well, this crazy idea might not be as far off in the future as you think. We'll tell you more up ahead.
Light rain showers for the next couple of days around the Bay Area, but sunshine's on the way. I'll have your 5-day forecast coming up.
Welcome back to State of Events. There was a little rain for your Easter weekend, but nothing like we've seen in the past few months.
We're going to send it on over to meteorologist Tessa Klein-Bell to see if there's any more showers on the way or if we can expect some sunshine this weekend.
A soggy morning today in the Bay Area. However, temperatures fairly mild. Let's take a look at our highs for the day. A lot of mid-60s, 64 in San Francisco, 66 across the Bay in Oakland and Berkeley, a nice 68 degrees in Brentwood, and a high of 64 in Napa and Vallejo. So we're seeing some scattered showers today. Expect that into tomorrow night. A lot of rain for the North Bay expected Wednesday, but then Thursday the cloud cover begins to move out, sunshine moves in, and we just keep warming up into our weekend. A high of 80 degrees on Sunday. I hope you've made those outdoor plans. Now, last week I mentioned that the Bay Area could be setting some record rain, and we did. Take a look. A high of 89.7 inches for overall rainfall total. The previous record was 88.5, and that was set in 1983. Areas like San Rafael, Mount Diablo, and the Santa Cruz Mountains have also set their own record highs. And believe it or not, we're still tracking some storm systems expected around May 1st. So not quite done with the rain yet, but a nice dry weekend is on the way. I'll send it back to Justin and Abene at the desk.
Just a month ago, Stanford University was hit with 2 sexual assault cases that happened within the span of 20 minutes. And more campus sexual assault cases are being reported almost on a daily basis. But some colleagues at SF State are trying to put an end to it. State of Events reporter Majestique Bellamy has more of how SF State is working to make its campus safer.
Campus assaults are a national epidemic, from burglary, sexual assault, and even campus threats. Let's find out how SF State works to prevent these kinds of acts. Most students, like SF State senior Abby Compel, do not feel safe around or on their college campus.
There's multiple times where I felt unsafe on campus, especially because I live near campus.
Living right across the street from SF State, Abby is one of the many victims of burglary near campus.
Our apartment got broken into, and we weren't home, and they must have seen that we were leaving for spring break, and they went into our apartment and they took some of our electronics.
From burglary to sexual assault, there have been about 3 cases reported just this year at SF State, and there was 9 cases reported in 2016. Officer Waylon Shu from the SF State Police Department states SF State has many programs that help students feel more safe.
Generally speaking, we have a lot of programs that we run on campus just to address the general safety issues. One of the first is our Care Escort program, and what it is really just providing escorts to students, faculty, staff that want to have someone walk with them or escort them to their classrooms, their cars, or buildings, and it's typically used at nighttime.
Officer Shu also states that the SF State Police Department is active 24 hours around the campus to decrease crime and help students feel safe every day.
I've seen like a strange man going into the library one time on the weekends, and then the cops pulled up a few minutes later because someone must have called.
In regards to other campuses and major active threats, the SF State Police Department is ready. The department has also collaborated with Run, Hide, Fight to help educate students on campus about what to do when there is an active threat.
Officer Waylon Shu also states that mental preparation is important when dealing with campus threats. To stay up to date, go to the University Police Department's website at updsfsu.edu. I'm Majestique Bellamy, back to you at the studio.
And from campus safety over to the health center. Up next, our campus news roundup. We will take a look at the funding scandal that has some students feeling discriminated against. State of Events reporter Michaela Walker gives us a look.
A common misconception at San Francisco State is that HIV testing is a free service provided by the Student Health Center, but it is not.
It was in 2010 that the San Francisco Department of Public Health stopped funding free HIV testing at San Francisco State. Everybody has to pay for STI HIV testing here at Student Health. So the only way in which someone gets assistance in paying for it is if they're eligible for Family Pack, and then Family Pack pays.
Family Pack is funding offered by the state that can cover services at the Student Health Center if you meet the criteria. Be a resident, family income must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, no other source of health care coverage or family planning services, and medical necessity for family planning services. Some students felt discriminated against as they do not fit the terms to qualify.
Denied me service because I was a male who had sex with males. I still am, I don't know. But I guess something had changed where they started screening and started asking, like, are you someone who engages like in, homosexual relations, and if you're not in a heterosexual relation, they'll deny you STD services because you're not someone who can contracept in their eyes. I've had a couple of friends who go there and they have to claim that they're bisexual in order to get any services from them.
The student newspaper recently published the story of Jose Francisco online at goldengateexpress.org. He said he was denied services because Family Pack only covers heterosexual couples.
I'm not excited about offering a program that limits health services to a specific group of students. But at the same time, I have a responsibility to the campus to identify resources that benefit as many students as we can.
The Student Health Center does not provide any free HIV testing. However, free testing was provided last Thursday on Multicultural World AIDS Day by an outside source. Jean Schellberg has assured me that the center is actively looking for new sources of funding that will cover everyone, no matter their sexuality. We will continue to bring you this story as it develops. In San Francisco, this is Michaela Walker, State of Events.
To honor STD Awareness Month, SF State students can buy condoms at vending machines in the Cesar Chavez Student Center. New statistics released by the Center for Disease Control show that sexually transmitted diseases are on the rise among college students.
State of Events reporter Karen Cordero has the story.
The rates of sexually transmitted diseases are going up, and sexual health educators think they know why.
Some people might not wear condoms, they don't communicate and ask them if they are clean, they don't get tested. So a lot of people think, like, oh, I must be clean, I don't have symptoms, I haven't slept with that many people, so on. There's so many excuses, but it only takes one time.
According to the American Sexual Health Association, each year 1 in every 4 college students get a type of STD during their time at school. A new report from the Centers of Disease Control shows that young adults between the ages of 15 to 24 are at a higher risk of contracting an STD.
To raise awareness about the shockingly high rates of STIs, SFSU has partnered up with sexual health providers such as Bedsider and Lifestyle by setting up a condom vending machine here on campus.
I'm involved in Bedsider.org, which is part of the national campaign again, to prevent teenage and unplanned pregnancy. This vending machine is first of its kind, where it actually gives you condoms, not for a price like most vending machines have done so currently. It actually has questions on the machine where you answer questions about STIs, and that way students are able to learn about it. Like, you know, what is the most common STI, what are the age ranges for it, and what are the symptoms. It really promotes safer sex practices, really, because it's there. It's there for students, and there shouldn't be a question whether or not you can have access to it, because it's there 24/7.
In San Francisco, Karen Cordero, State of Events.
And as the school year wraps up, one major event is on the horizon for high schoolers: prom. Now, prom is an exciting time, but can also be very expensive. Luckily, one nonprofit organization in the Bay Area is giving all prom dresses away for free. Reporter Chloe Ortega is live with us in the studio with the story. Chloe?
Thanks, Justin. It's every girl's dream to feel like a princess on prom night, but not everyone can afford spending hundreds of dollars on a dress. For those in need, the Princess Project of Silicon Valley is here to help.
Today was no ordinary day for dozens of girls looking for the perfect prom dress.
Our goal is to make them feel special, beautiful, loved. They shop for about an hour with a fairy godmother, which is a personal shopper, and we help them to say yes to their prom dress.
For a free dress, all you have to do is make an appointment online and show up.
We actually don't do any financial checking. We take their word and we trust that they are in need of a dress. As long as they have a student ID, they can come and get a dress.
For Jacqueline Bayman, she found the perfect gown.
I just got a job and I thought I was going to have to help pay for it, but I didn't want my first paycheck to be for my dress.
The Princess Project of Silicon Valley collects dresses from many bridal shops in the Bay Area. They also have drive-ins where other teens get to donate their dresses.
Many of these teens have $300, $400 dresses, and they only wear it once, and then it sits in their closet. So why not give that dress another chance to shine on another teen who couldn't otherwise afford it?
If you or someone you know wants to donate a dress, you can check the State Events Facebook page for more information. I'm Chloe Ortega. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chloe. Coming up next on State of Events, the Sharks and Warriors are both busy in the playoffs this weekend, but while one team has nothing to worry about, the other is skating on thin ice. We have your weekend sports wrap-up coming up.
And after a PR disaster for United Airlines, the company is changing their policies from employees getting on last minute. We'll be right back.
Santa Clara County wants to track down over 1,000 people to settle up fines, penalties, and fees. But it's not what you think. Instead of owing, the people on this list are due money. Officials say more than $460,000 in unclaimed money comes from a variety of sources, such as paid fines, penalty assessments, and restitution for crime victims. Anyone in Santa Clara County who believes they may be due a refund should visit scgov.org and look under Hot Topics.
A week after the PR nightmare, United Airlines is changing their staff policy. The change follows backlash from the viral video showing David Dow being forced to give up his seat on an overbooked flight. Dow lost 4 teeth and suffered a broken nose. Under the new rule, staff will now be seated at least 1 hour before takeoff. United says the goal is to avoid displacing passengers to make room for staff.
In 2016, 39 people fatally jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, while bridge patrol workers prevented 200 others from jumping. Now, one of San Francisco's most iconic landmarks is getting a safety upgrade. A suicide prevention net will be built 20 feet below the sidewalk, extending out another 20 feet, as you can see in this rendering of the finished product. The nearly $200 million project, which was first approved in 2014, has been delayed due to years of debate and a hefty price tag. But construction is expected to start mid-2018 with crews working at night while traffic is light. The project is expected to be finished by the year 2021.
Officials in San Francisco have found a possible solution to the traffic crisis in their city. The SF Examiner says San Francisco's officials are so outraged with Lyft and Uber drivers that they are considering suing the state. A supervisor for the city says the problem is that the California Public Utilities Commission has information about Uber and Lyft vehicles that may help planners reduce traffic congestion. According to the report, there are nearly 45,000 active Lyft and Uber drivers compared to less than 2,000 taxi drivers in San Francisco. According to the CPUC, those records are confidential and cannot be released to the public.
Apple is now taking a bite out of the self-driving car industry. The tech giant secured California driver's permits to test the self-driving technologies in the state. While this doesn't mean Apple is building its own self-driving car, it does show they're at least testing the technology on the 3 Lexus RXs that it got permits for. The company says it's investing heavily in the machine learning and automation industry, including transportation. Apple joins Google, Tesla, and General Motors, among other companies, applying for the self-driving car permits.
We're going to take one more break, but when we return, we'll give you updates on the Warriors and the Sharks playoff series.
And San Francisco's new soccer team is giving Kezar something it hasn't had in decades. We'll tell you more coming up on State of Events. The pressure and dramatic atmosphere of the playoffs returned to Oakland and San Jose Sunday, an atmosphere that the cities, their teams, and their fans are pretty much used to these past couple of years. We'll start on the hardwood with the Warriors Game 1 against the Portland Trail Blazers. So the first half, there's Kevin Durant, and you'll see the first half was taken over by the Blazers and CJ McCollum, who put up a career-high 41 points and one there from CJ McCollum in this little drop in the bucket. But in the second half, it was all Warriors as Steph Curry hits the corner 3 and living up to the Splash Brother name. But the Warriors had a block party in the second half as JaVale McGee against Maurice Harkless and Draymond Green with the block of the night as well as 19 points. 9 assists with 3 steals as the Warriors win 121-109. Now to the ice in Game 3 of the Sharks and the Oilers as Patrick Marleau and the Sharks welcome back Joe Thornton to the ice. And we'll pick things up in the second period. And the aforementioned Joe Thornton with the assists, as you'll see right here, to Paul Martin with the one-timer that misses off Cam Talbot. He had 23 saves. And then the turnover, Zach Kassian, which would turn out to be the game winner. And the Edmonton Oilers take a 2-1 series lead.
Well, baseball season is in full swing, and the A's are finding a new way to make a difference off the field.
That's right. Sports reporter Katie Welge joins us in the studio with the news of how the Athletics are giving back to Oakland. Katie?
Thanks, guys. Though the Raiders will eventually say farewell to Oakland, the A's are there to stay. The baseball team and new president Dave Kaval are making some big changes at the Coliseum to draw in fans.
We're taking off the tarps.
That's what A's president Dave Kaval said after 10-plus years of the upper deck seats being covered, but the Oakland Coliseum has finally taken down the dreadful tarps last week and will stay off for the rest of the season. The seats in this section will be sold for a more affordable price of $15, and on top of that, half of the ticket sales will be donated to Oakland Promise, a career initiative and pet charity of Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, which aims to triple the number of college graduates from Oakland in the next 10 years. Dave Kaval agreed with the mayor on the importance of this issue.
Well, that's one that I think means a lot for the city, and you can't beat education, so we're excited to support.
The program ensures every child graduates high school with the exceptions, resources, and skills to complete college and be successful in a career. Under new president Dave Kaval, A's continue to win over fans as he also announced lowering beer prices at games. A few years ago, the team was doing what they could to leave the city, but now they're sitting pretty for new stadium negotiations as they have been visiting location sites, some closer to downtown or possibly right next to the Now Stadium.
And we make sure that we build a ballpark that can be a community asset.
Now with the Warriors moving across the bay and the Raiders buying their tickets to Las Vegas, the Athletics have a duty to fulfill when it comes to giving back to their Oakland fans. Right now there are no set plans for a new stadium, but the A's residents did say they are looking to build a privately financed ballpark village. I'm Katie Welge. Justin, back to you at the desk.
Prosecutors have dismissed rape charges against former San Francisco 49er Ray McDonald. The charges were dropped Monday morning in Santa Clara County Superior Court after the accuser's refusal to offer testimony. The 49ers released McDonald in December 2014 after it was revealed that the lineman was under investigation for an alleged sexual assault. It's not clear whether the woman received any kind of financial settlement from McDonald, but if convicted, McDonald would have faced up to 8 years in prison.
Since it was built 90 years ago, teams of all levels have played at Kezar Stadium. But for as alive as the stadium once was, its pulse has faded over time. State of Events Julian Gaskins tell us how the SF Deltas are bringing Kezar Stadium back to life one day at a time.
Come on, Kezar, cheer on your defense!
Kezar Stadium hasn't seen fans like these in decades. A place that used to be home to 2 NFL teams can now be described decades later as lifeless.
Then it just kind of became obsolete, sort of. Just high schools would use it for stuff, and now it has like its life again.
Now, on most days of the week, Kezar Stadium is just about empty. But thanks to the SF Deltas, they're getting a little more life back, something they haven't had in decades.
The SF Deltas are a new professional soccer team playing in their first season. They compete in the North American Soccer League, the league under the MLS. And for 14 more game days this year, Kezar will provide fans with the environment they've been long waiting for, especially after other unsuccessful attempts to bring teams back to this historic stadium.
I mean, there was one a couple years ago and it failed, and they did a really good job getting this one set up, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty good experience for the city.
It definitely will be, at least if the first 2 games are anything to go by. The Deltas are bringing in nearly 3,000 people per night. The tickets cost less than any nearby sports team, and you may catch some exciting moments along the way, such as this goal for the team's first ever win.
For San Francisco in the box, waiting for it. Long shot, score! Diego! 2-1 Deltas!
What an outstanding finish for Diego!
And while this may be beginning to feel like the Kezar of new, it's keeping its historic influences too.
They even brought the old seats in from Candlestick, so it's kind of like coming full circle.
It might be. Hopefully the Deltas can do what other teams couldn't and keep Kezar's heart beating. From Kezar Stadium, Julian Gaskins, State of Events.
Weekend 1 of Coachella has just ended. State of Events' Dwayne Hibbert has the trending recaps of the festival.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to Entertainment Tea. Coachella kicks off with a bang, an event full of surprises and fun in the sun. These 3 days in the desert attract thousands, reeling in a lot of celebrities and great music. Let's check it out.
Adam Lambert, Rihanna, and more were spotted soaking up the Indio sun. They greeted their fans, chilled in VIP, and rocked it out with their iPhones out. Celebrities took to Instagram creating their festive stories and posting their iconic looks. On top of Coachella's fashion, the performances proved why people flocked to this festival. During Future's set, he invited a few special guests. Drake and Migos graced the stage alongside Future, and the crowd went wild. They performed their hits, Jumpman and Bad and Bougie, lighting up the stage and hyping up the crowd. Lady Gaga's set included her hits Bad Romance and Telephone. During the performance, Gaga debuted her new single, The Cure. The Cure arrived 6 months after her 5th album, Joanne. The Grammy Award winner released the song on all streaming applications after the performance, including the cover art. Week 2 of Coachella is in 3 days. Let the countdown begin.
We just can't get enough of Coachella. Looking forward to weekend 2. That's it for Entertainment Tea. I'm Dwayne Hibbert. Back to you guys.
Well, there you have it. That's going to be it for State of Events. Justin, any fun plans for this weekend?
Well, I know Tessa said it's going to be pretty sunny this week and weekend, but if it's not sunny on my couch, I'm watching sports.
That
That's what I'm gonna be
sounds
doing.
about right. Sweatpants all around.
Yeah, I like my sweatpants. So we'll see you guys next time. I'm Justin McCarthy.
And I'm Abene Clayton for State of Events. Bye.